What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the MF Film Room. It's Jake. Let's get going. If you want to be up to date on all things EA college football, hit that red subscribe button right now. Do it. Hit the red subscribe. Make it. Click it. Do it. Okay, I've got 95% of people right now are watching these videos and they're not subscribed. I'm telling you, I'm going to have the leaks first, but you're going to get the best analysis here. You're always going to hear about it. We're going to have hypotheticals here and there. We're going to do so much with this channel. Let's get going. Also, if you follow me on Twitter/X, you'll be there for any updates. That fam is growing. And Master Football with Jake Posey, my college football channel, is also linked in the description. But again, EA college football content, let's get going. All right, guys, we are continuing with the last of our 12-part series on potential EA college football features in the game. We've done so much stuff. Offense, defense, NAL, transfer portal, monetization techniques, team builder, so many different things within there. So what I've done is I've basically synthesized a couple of these things here for my greatest creation yet. And again, is it going to come out? I don't know, but I do think that it needs to, because there's a lot of things that this could really, really help out with. And it's my original idea called Dynasty Builder. So for Team Builder, it gave you the ability to go out there and make a specific team, the specifics of it, the colors of this, the logo, the stadium, everything like that. Was it as intricate as I wanted it to be? Not necessarily, but it had a lot in there. Dynasty Builder, this original idea, is essentially the same thing. What Dynasty Builder is the ability to customize your dynasty. So Dynasty Builder, my completely original idea. We're going to get through that video right now, get through that content, go through everything like that. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, do all that. Let me know if you want any sort of adjustments here or there. Ideas for videos, I will make them right now. We got to kind of create our own content at this point because there's not very many leaks. I do suspect we're probably going to get something around CFP time, but we'll see then. Again, remember, please like, share, comment, subscribe, getting that stuff. But let's get into that content. Like I said, history, factors to consider, and then recommendations. Let's go. So for the history, they've never really had a Dynasty Builder situation. What they have had is just Dynasty. Now, Dynasty, you could customize it from the beginning. When you start a Dynasty, you could obviously create a coach, get in here, and you could adjust these things. You could adjust rules and difficulty. You could import a particular team builder team. You could have custom conferences or adjust the BCS Bowl tie-ins. Let's break those down a little bit more. The rules and difficulty, game speed, speed threshold. So the discrepancy between slower or faster players, quicker players and not as quick players, the sliders in terms of how often they call penalties, how often people, are offsides, things like that, injuries, fatigue, all that kind of stuff. That was the first thing you could adjust. Then you could adjust your team builder. So you could import team builder. You could import up to 12 teams. Teams that were added took the rivals of the teams that were left off. So it was really hard to be like, I'm going to include Alabama Tech. I want their rival to be Alabama. You have to remove Auburn or something like that. It's really, really difficult to do that, but that's how it worked. You also had custom conferences. You could adjust conferences up and down from 4 to 16 teams. So you could have a 5-team conference, and then you'd have 4 conference games. You could have a 16-team conference, and you'd have 9 conference games, 7 against your side, 2 against the other. Every conference must have at least 1 team, though. So if you had a conference, you had 4. That's the minimum. But every team had to have at least 1, and that 1 was basically just the independent ranks. They had to have at least 1 independent school. You couldn't fully remove that from the game. And then you also had the BCS Bowl tie-ins. Everybody remembers the Bowl Championship Series, formerly from the College Football Playoff. And it was those 8 spots assigned to those 4 BCS Bowls: Rose, Fiesta, Sugar, and then the Orange Bowl. You could also change custom conferences and BCS Bowl tie-ins the last week of the off-season. So as you're going through the off-season, you redo your coaching points. You also want to adjust people around, move up and down. I actually have a dynasty right now that I do promotion and relegation. So if you finish last place in conference record in your conference, you go down to a feeder conference. And if you finish first place at the feeder conference, you go up. So teams have been going back and forth. It's actually really, really cool to do so. So factors to consider, there's a couple different things here. You have your teams. First of all, how many teams are you going to have? How many imported teams are you going to have? Your team builder teams, in essence. Your league structure, what do you want, your rules, your sliders, basically the league structure, meaning like, do you want to have pass interference called a lot more, called a lot less? Do you want injuries? Do you want speed threshold? Those are the factors you can consider there. Also, the conference structure. And again, factors to consider, you had your divisions, you want pods, you want no divisions, you want to set rivals, something like that. Do you want a playoff format? Do you want it to be bowls only? Do you want it to be playoffs only? Do you want it to be a hybrid? Right now, it's currently a hybrid. You have your bowls, and then you have your playoffs connected with some bowls, obviously. And then your rivalries. So much work to do in this area, but there's lots of potential. I'm going to get into that in my list of recommendations. So my recommendations, and like I said it before, it should operate like Team Builder, where you create your dynasty in all of its parts, and then you download the file to the game. It would save a ton of time and space on the game. Basically, it would just outsource a lot of that customization, because there's a lot of things to customize there. You know, how do you want these rivalries to be set? What do you want the size of the league? How do you want the format to be? All of that would take a long time in the game. You could just do it offline on a computer and then download it. It would be really, really cool in my perspective if that's how it worked. From the team's perspective, you could have a variable amount of teams in the game. Could be 120, could be 140, could be 64. It could be all Team Builder teams. And again, it would be really cool because you create your dynasty and then you have your Team Builder teams. And you could just slide them in and out, in and out. I think that would be really cool if it worked that way. Also, the league structure. So allow for a number of games per year to be set. So do you want, the current rules allow for 12, 13 if you play at Hawaii. Remember that. Have you heard of the term Hawaii exemption? The Hawaii exemption is a rule enacted by the NCAA that allows Division I football teams to play at Hawaii to schedule a 13th game. The rule also allows the Warriors to play an extra game. In essence, it costs a lot to get out to Hawaii. So if you do so, the NCAA is like, you can play another game, have another opportunity to earn that revenue back. I also think you should adjust it for the conference only. So what you could do is you could be like, all right, so there's going to be no non-conference games, or you're only allowed 2 non-conference games or 3 non-conference games or something like that. You could adjust that up or down, possibly add games, maybe 15, 16 games. Personally, I like the shorter season compared to Madden. But if you wanted to, I think that customization, the EA, and NCAA football, I think that would be really cool if you could do something like that. I'm not as big on adding more games, but it's an idea. Next thing too I want to talk about is conference structure. So you should have the ability to adjust between divisions, pods, protected rivalries, and no divisions. Could have the option of a conference semifinals or a +1. +1 is where there's 3 teams make it to the conference championship, 2 and 3 play each other, and then they play the first team later on. I think that would be a really cool thing. And again, I don't know if that's going to happen. That currently is not in anywhere. It is in, the Olympic sports, basketball and things like that. But in football, that'd be tough because of so many games to play. Also, conference creation. Create a conference championship trophy, make the old Southwest Conference, make the old Big East. Something like that would be really cool if you wanted to do that. I personally think that would be a big, thing to do. So another thing I wanted to talk about would be protected rivalries. So let's just say you had 15 teams in your conference, so you're one of them, and you have 4 protected rivalries. That's 5. That means you have another 10 teams to play from. You pick 5 and 5. So you have your 4 protected rivalries plus your 5 and 5, and that would alternate back and forth. That's how that would kind of work. But again, if you wanted to be like, okay, so we're going to have 15 teams, and we're going to have, a division of 8 and a division of 7, or it's just going to be 8 games, or it's just going to be 9 games. I think to be able to adjust that would be really cool going forward. I also want to talk about the playoff format. So you should be able to select whether or not you want bowls, playoffs, or hybrid. So I just want bowls, and the national championship is 1 and 2. I want that. I want to go old school. Playoffs, I want it to be the top 16 teams all go, and that's it. But then if you're the 17th team all the way down to the bottom, you don't go. So there's no playoffs. There's no bowls for anybody else. Another one could be like a hybrid. Right now it's kind of the hybrid where, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and the Idaho Potato Bowl and the Poinsettia Bowl, they all play, but then there's still the big bowls that are assigned to the college football playoff. The top 4 teams going, eventually could get to 12. Who knows? But again, that would be in there. I think, again, this would be so cool if this was in the game. Imagine 64 teams total. You could adjust the teams number down, 64 teams total, but everybody makes the playoffs. So think about that. One team's, 0 and 12, the other team's 12 and 0, and they play first round of the playoffs. They upset them. Again, I think that would be really cool if you could do something like that. I know some people wouldn't like that, but I think that would be fire if that's how it worked. And then last but not least, rivalries. You should be able to select rivalries. Would it not be awesome if you could set/make a trophy for your rivalry games? So like I said, Alabama Tech. I know Alabama Tech's a real school, but Alabama Tech plays Alabama, and you can make that rivalry game and make that have it its own name, make its own trophy, something like that. I think that'd be really cool. Also, you could also edit your rivalries. So when it's in there, you could be like 2 or more Team Builder teams should be able to name their rivalry and be able to make a trophy for it. Like I said, you see the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, you see the Beehive boot between all the Utah schools, the Commander-in-Chief's trophy between Army, Air Force, and Navy. But remember here, these bowls, they can create it and they can kind of adjust from here. So as an example, have you guys all heard of the Bussin' Bowl? So Michigan football, the new rivalry trophy. With a signature in place, an apparent verbal agreement between both head coaches, and now a new trophy concept, looks like the Big Ten is about to welcome its newest trophy game in 2022. So for the next 8 years, and again, that's what the apparent conversation is the fact that Michigan and Nebraska for the next 8 years are going to be on the roster or on the schedule for each other. So you see here the fact we've got Jim Harbaugh, we've got Taylor Lewan and Will Compton from Nebraska, Taylor Lewan from Michigan, Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh signed a piece of paper. This piece of paper this is absolutely ridiculous, the fact that this is happening here. I, Jim Harbaugh, agree to make the Nebraska-Michigan game the Bussin' Bowl, Jim Harbaugh. Boom, signed, sealed, and deliver. They even have the trophy right here. You see this trophy? This is ridiculous. But look at this. They've got a bus. They've got all this stuff on here. Again, it is a trophy. It is going to be happening. College is about creating these rivalries. This needs to happen. This needs to be in the game. The ability to make something like this. So those are my recommendations, guys. What are your recommendations? Remember, get in the comments right now and let me know. What do you guys like? What do you guys not like? What did I forget? You guys get in there right now and let me know. Also, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links are in the description. You can always reach out to me there. Hey, do a video for this. Hey, do a video for that. I'll be able to do that for all of you guys. All right, guys, that is it. Remember, this is my totally original idea, all myself. I know I kind of synthesized a couple ideas together, but again, I don't want any credit as long as EA brings me on as a consultant and pays me. That's all I'm asking for, okay? Very, very small. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I really appreciate all the impact and everything you guys do. I'm trying to keep this thing going, man, because we're getting close to 1 year before the game comes out. So I'm hoping to capitalize on that excitement. And like I said, please follow me, but I'll see you guys tomorrow. I am out.